Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. Thank you so much for joining us today. Talking about obesity and this diet, that diet, all these different types of recipes and all the television food cooking shows that are on, one might think, how can we help but eat unhealthy? It's all around us. Our guest in studio today contends that we all have some type of food addiction that we just don't often admit it or maybe don't know about it. Our guest, Dr. Bruce Roseman, with us today, author of the Addictocarb Diet. He doesn't believe that weight gain is related to portion control. And we're going to talk about why his diet works when others seem to fail. How are you doing today, Dr. Roseman?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. The Addictocarb Diet, are you saying that we're addicted or we need to be addicted to carbs? What exactly are you saying with the Addictocarb Diet?
Okay, well, the bottom line is that now new brain imaging techniques have clearly shown that weight gain stems from our addiction to certain foods, in the same way that we're addicted to heroin. I have in my office a picture of two MRI scans. They're actually fMRIs. They're MRI scans, one of a person addicted to heroin and one of a person that's eating what I refer to as addictocarbs. It occupies the same area of the brain and it looks exactly, you would be hard-pressed to tell which is different. So it's clear that certain foods stimulate the addiction center of the brain, and that's what causes us to overeat. Okay? The reason that my diet works and other diets don't is in terms of longevity. Anytime you go on a diet, you're going to lose weight. You go on any diet, you're going to lose weight. There's no question about it. I mean, that's why they're called diets. The problem is that once you go on a diet, you lose all the weight, then you start a new diet. And the new diet is the gaining your weight back diet. And that's why things like, well, no, it's not conscious. But I mean, look, I've lost 70 pounds 3 times, okay, over the course of my life. Okay, the last time was when I went on the Addictocarb Diet, which was 14 years ago, and I've kept it off. And my life has been spent going on diets and off diets, as was my father's. Now, my father died at the age of 52, and suddenly when I was at the age of 52, faced with uncontrollable diabetes, high blood pressure, prostate disease, and a few other things, and heart disease, I failed my stress test, and I had to do something about it. I knew that I needed to lose weight. I knew I could lose weight. I'd already lost 70 pounds twice before. What I didn't know was whether I could lose weight and keep it off. And what I came up with is something that's based on the data and research that's out there. I didn't believe me, I'm not inventing the wheel here. There are plenty of guys doing studies at major university medical centers in Boston and California and Yale that have clearly shown that the reason that we eat too much is because of addiction. And if you can get rid of those foods, then you don't continue to eat too much. And that's what my diet does. So yes, is it possible to eat healthy? Yes. On Facebook, I have tons of recipes. I have the Addictocarb Diet on Facebook. I have tons of recipes and discussions and all sorts of stuff. I have 4,500 followers. And they're all sorts of great things to eat. You just have to be careful not to eat the things that are really addictive. Number 1 and 2 on that list is bread and potatoes.
Bread and potatoes. That's what we love those. We love bread and potatoes.
Yes.
It's a staple.
Yes, of course. Of course we love them. That's why you can't have them. No bread, no potatoes, no exceptions. Now, that being said, there are ways of getting away from eating bread and potatoes. I mean, the first thing you have to do when you go on a diet is you have to break the addictive cycle. Just like any other addiction, you have to go through withdrawal. I make it easier for people. I have these shakes that I have, that have people drink, which are basically like you stuff as much fruit as you can into a smoothie with a little flavoring powder. Personally, I use Slim Fast because I like the taste, but my nurse uses some other one that she gets on Amazon. They're all flavoring powder, and that will break the addiction. After 3 days, the addiction is broken, and then you have to learn how to live within the framework of the diet, which is just to stay away from these addictive substances.
Now, we're talking about these addictive substances. Can one person be addicted to one type of carb and another person addicted to something else?
Well, that's an excellent question. Okay, let me be clear about one thing. Carbs are not the enemy. There is nothing wrong with carbs. My diet is actually a high-carb, high-calorie diet. I have lost a lot of weight. My nurse has lost a ton of weight. I have couple of thousand patients that have lost a ton of weight and have been able to keep it off. Carbs are not the enemy, pure and simple. You can eat carbs. The shakes that I make, to help me with the diet have tons of fruit. But the point is, you can eat a bucket of strawberries and you can eat a quarter of a slice of bread. The bucket of strawberries has lots of carbs, lots of sugar, but it does not stimulate the addiction center of the brain. But 1/4 of one piece of bread does stimulate the addiction center of the brain. And once you do that, you're going to feel that you need to eat more. If you eat all those strawberries, believe me, especially if you eat an entire bucket, believe me, you're not going to feel like eating anymore. That's really what the issue is. So yes, there are certain carbs, and do you have to give up all of the addictocarbs? No. I gave up all of the addictocarbs. I got so skinny that all the patients were saying to me, "Are you sick?" So what I did is I went back and I gained about 10 or 12 pounds. And the way I did it was scientific. And that is, I decided I needed to gain back about 10 or 12 pounds. So what I did is I added two addictocarbs back to my diet. And the two addictocarbs that I added,
the rest of
them, no, because, for every addictocarb that you give up, you're going to lose a certain amount of weight. You give up bread, you lose a certain amount of weight. You give up bread and potatoes, it's a certain amount of weight. If you add to that pasta, it's a certain amount of weight. But if you give them all up, you're going to get really skinny. Okay? Not everybody needs to lose 70 pounds. Most people don't. Some people just want to lose 10 or 15 pounds. And then there's this whole group of middle-aged women that they get to a certain age, they get that stuff around their middle, my wife included, and they just want to get rid of that. And that may only entail losing 5 pounds. Well, you don't have to give up all the addictocarbs for that. My wife has done very, very well by just giving up bread and potatoes. And I think there's a story in the book about one of my patients who I was shocked. Absolutely shocked. She was in the office. I was telling a patient about the diet one day, and she says to me, "Well, how come you've never mentioned the diet to me?" And I'm saying to myself, why you? I mean, you're a dancer. You've always been thin. You're in great shape. Why would I mention a diet to you? And she says to me, "Well, because everybody in my family has struggled with their weight, and I feel that it's a struggle for me to stay this way." So anyway, I gave her the book. She read about the Addictocarb Diet, and she wrote a very, very nice piece, which they published in the book, which is that it's just helped her get rid of that middle stuff that she got when she started at age 50. Women all know about this. So no, did she give up all the addictocarbs? No, she gave up bread and potatoes.
Now, as we wrap up, Dr. Roseman, your website, addictocarb.com. When you visit there, what exactly should we expect to find at the site? Helpful hints?
Well, I mean, first of all, the site has pretty much most of everything on there. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Also, the on Facebook, it's all sorts of stuff on Facebook. The Addictocarb Diet on Facebook, but on the website, it explains what the Addictocarb Diet is, and there are some testimonials, or maybe it's a TV show or two. I can't, remember exactly, that has me on it talking about the Addictocarb Diet, so you can hear me discuss the Addictocarb Diet, and you can see me so you realize I'm not a monster. I'm just a regular person who is like really fat, who's lost the weight, and there are some recipes and stuff. I think it's an interesting website. I do it all myself. I built the Facebook page myself, and I built the website myself.
Great. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neal Howard. Dr. Bruce Roseman has been our guest in studio today, New York-based physician and author of the Addictocarb Diet. He's been here talking with us. He doesn't believe that weight gain is related to portion control, rather getting rid of these addictive carbs, some of which being addictive to one person may not be addictive to another. His book outlines different ways to find out which carbs you may be addicted to and how to get them out of your diet in order to live a more healthy, nutritious life. It's been great having you here with us today, Dr. Roseman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm, and you can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.